What's up, YouTube? How's it going? So, this is my first video regarding this project, car, whatever. It's a little disappointing, but it happens. It's a BMW, and we know what that means. Big money waster, huh? Well, this is a 2007 ALPINA B7. It's a 4.4 V8, supercharged. It's an ALPINA. There's the infamous spoiler. The engine failed. Started knocking, started making all kinds of beautiful music. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic, but it failed. So I bought an engine from a local wrecking yard. They had an ALPINA there. Actually, it was a 2007 as well. And I bought the engine, and the engine had about 103,000 miles. And it looked pretty good. We did a compression test, everything looked good, but we were still concerned. So this guy, you guys know who he is. It's Certain, I don't know how to say his name. Certon, I don't know, so excuse me. He has the same problem. He took apart his engine and he had some issues and some scoring issues on the cylinder walls. So I kind of sat back and said, okay, I'm gonna hold off. Let's see what this guy's gonna do. Maybe I can do the same thing. Because my plan was to just refresh the motor, put new valve cover gaskets, oil pan gaskets, do the coolant pipe, because obviously those are infamous for leaking. I was gonna do the valve stem seals, but I was a little worried because all the engines that these guys are taking apart, all of them have the same problem, all the same challenges. They're scoring on the cylinder walls, and I was a little worried about that because if I drop a couple $1,000s on this and then it fails anyways, I'm gonna be bummed out and I'm gonna be pissed. So this guy was like, okay, I'm gonna sleeve the block, I'm gonna rebuild the engine, and he was doing a great job. I mean, if you're a follower of his channel, you know what was up. This guy's pretty handy with his tools in his hands, and he did a good job. But there's a couple things that went wrong. The sleeves. When he took apart the engine, when he started test driving the car for the first time after it was rebuilt, he noticed that the sleeves dropped. The skirts on the pistons were banged up, and it was not good. So he took it apart, obviously, and discovered all those problems. So one of the things that he accepted was the sleeve job was not done properly. And he discovered some clearance issues because all the cylinder walls had different clearance issues while the sleeves that were installed. And it was tough. You know, it's tough to watch because all the skirts on the pistons on two of them were pretty banged up. So my whole thing was, okay, what happened? Did he do did the person that installed the sleeves, did he do a horrible job? I believe so. Also, I believe another issue could have been maybe the pistons. He used the stock ALPINA pistons. They're forged. They're made by Molly. And those pistons have a coating on them that's compatible, I guess, with the alias seal block or the material that's in here. And I believe that was a problem. So because of that, I think a lot of that was contributing to the issue, because obviously the pistons expand more than the iron sleeves were expanding, so they got banged up. Or it could have just been clearance issues. At the end of the day, it was all fucked up. Excuse my language. It was bad. So I kind of sat back and I thought to myself, shit, man, maybe I should just refresh the motor and call it a day. But then I started thinking, no, because a lot of these motors fail and they have scoring issues on the cylinder walls and you name it. So I called a couple places around. There's a company here in Whittier where I live, and it's called LA Sleeve. And they said they can sleeve the block. So the plan was to take it there. And before I made that move, I kept looking into it. And the more I looked into this type of work, the more questions I had. Because there's some guys that torque it down with torque plates, and they do line honing, and LA Sleeve wasn't really recommending that. They said it's not a bad deal, that they can do it. They just don't feel that they have to. That kind of left a little question mark. I was like, okay. So then I called Darton Sleeves, another manufacturer, and they redirected me to one of their installers here in San Clemente, California. And the guy told me what he was gonna do and how it was gonna be a lot better than what LA Sleeve was gonna do. But then he was backed up like 6 months. So I'm like, bull, I'm not gonna wait for that. 6 fucking months, like damn. So then I looked into another company, VAC Motorsports. Well, VAC, obviously, they don't even answer calls, man. They don't even return emails. And I called them out on their bullshit on Instagram and they blocked me. And all I asked them was, hey, how come you guys aren't emailing me back? I emailed you guys several times, blah, blah, blah. So they went ahead and blocked me, whatever. All because I called them out. So then I contacted another company and they're called RPM Engines. They're here in California in Sonoma County, up north in Northern California. And those guys are pretty badass. I went in and I checked out their work on Instagram and they have a lot of shit going on. Really good shit too, by the way. So I made arrangements with them. They were the most expensive out of everybody, but they are gonna do things correctly. They're gonna machine the block, obviously. So what I was told is they're gonna machine this downwards, I believe, create like a little step on each cylinder wall, and they're gonna install a sleeve, and then the sleeve's gonna have a little lip, and that little lip is gonna sit inside there, so that way there won't be any sleeve drop, which is what this guy went through. By the way, he's an awesome guy. I've talked to him several times. As a matter of fact, I talked to him earlier. This dude is badass, man. I really love his channel, so you guys continue to support him. He's just phenomenal. But I hate to use him as a reference or an example, but it is what it is. The facts are the facts. His motor failed, and I hate to use him as an example, but it is what it is. So, but he's a good guy, and I really respect him. So he had sleeve drop, by the way, on his engine, and that's part of the reason why I was concerned. So when he took out his motor the second time after it was rebuilt, he was looking at the sleeve and it dropped, and there was a little gap. He was going like this on the video, and I was like, whoa, those sleeves, they dropped inwards. So that was a problem. And the skirts on the pistons were really banged up. So it was bad. So I got even more nervous. I'm like, shit, man. And I'm about to do the same thing. So when I contacted RPM Engines, they told me, look, we saw the video and we can give you our opinion, but it doesn't matter. We're going to do things different. We're going to machine the block. We're going to machine a little step. We're going to put the sleeves in, and it's going to help prevent it from having a sleeve drop. We're going to also line hone the block, the bottom end of the block. We're going to put torque plates on it. We're going to torque it down. So they're going to do a lot of stuff that I think maybe this guy didn't do. Again, this guy's fucking awesome, dude. I hate to just bring him up like this, but again, because of the motor he has and the motor I have, it's basically identical. I'm using him as an example, so I don't go through that. Again, I'm saying this with all respect. No, I'm not bashing the guy or anything. He knows it too. He's a good guy. So, anyways, back to RPM. So they told me they're gonna do all those procedures to prevent any kind of installation issues or any kind of problems that can arise in the future. And I was with it. I was like, cool. I think that's a good way to do it. And of course, they charged me a little bit more, but I'm with it. So I'm going to be shipping this motor off tomorrow to RPM Engines. You guys should check them out. They're on Instagram. Awesome stuff, like I said. And they're going to have it there for about a month or two because they're backed up as well, but not as bad as Ali Sleeve. And they're going to do their thing. And they're going to hook it up. And they're going to do it the way they feel is the right way to do it. And I'm going to get the block back. Now, as far as pistons go, I'm having Molly Motorsports make me a copy piston of the original pistons. So I'm not changing any of the compression ratios. I'm not changing anything. I'm going to use 901 compression pistons, and they're going to be from Molly Motorsports. I sent them the original piston that came out of the ALPINA motor, or this block. And they have the piston. They have the profile already because they're the guys that made the piston anyways. But for just so we're all on the same page, I felt that sending them a piston was the right thing to do. He felt the same way. And I sent them the piston and they got it. And they're like, yep, this thing has coatings on it that is not compatible with the iron sleeve, which again was probably one of the contributing factors to M539 Restoration's failure. I don't know. But the coatings on that piston are not compatible with the iron sleeve. So they're gonna make me a custom piston. Gonna be basically the same piston, but two things are gonna be different. The rings are gonna be different because they're gonna be compatible with the iron sleeve, and the coatings that are on the piston are gonna be different so they can be compatible with the iron sleeve as well. The sleeves I'm using will probably be from, they'll be ductile iron sleeves. They'll be from Darton or LA sleeve. Whoever has them, I don't care. I'm not doing some crazy hot rod shit. I'm not racing all crazy, so I don't care. I think either sleeve will be fine. Preferably Darton a little bit. I'm leaning towards them, but if they don't have them, then I'll just go with LA sleeve. They're my second choice. Either way, it'll be fine. But they're gonna make pistons that are gonna be compatible to these sleeves, so I don't have any issues. The clearances are gonna be just as tight as the factory clearances, so everything should work out. I'm rebuilding this whole thing. Pistons, the crank's gonna get polished. Bimmer heads, another company here in Santa Clarita, California, they have my heads. They took apart the heads and called me. They said, hey, these things are pretty much, they're in perfect condition. There's no scoring on the cams. Everything was in order. So I felt kind of stupid because my whole concern was four of these engines in the last year that these guys have taken apart, all of them were scored, all of them were failed because of the same issue. And I was nervous when I bought this engine because I felt it was going to have the same issue. Well, we took it apart, and as you can see, there's no scoring. All the cylinder walls are pretty much perfect. They're all clean. The other side is pretty clean. There's nothing going on. This was a little bit, but when you rub it, it's smooth. There's nothing going on there. So that was pretty clean as well. So the block was fine, and that was kind of a bummer because I'm thinking to myself, okay, I basically took apart a good engine for no reason. But it is what it is. It's too late. And I did that because everyone else's engine kept failing, including mine. So I thought the best thing to do is take it apart. Let's see what's going on. And now I don't want to put everything back because I think everything's just a little worn out. And I just don't feel right putting it back together with all the stock parts. So we're going to sleeve it. I'm having Molly Motorsport make me some custom pistons. The heads are being rebuilt. This block's going to be sent out to RPM engines. Now, the Supercharger is one of the only things that have been done already at this point. This got sent out to Budapest. I think it's in Hungary, the country of Hungary. His name is Laszlo, and that's the crazy engineer. He had my Supercharger. I just got a new pulley. That's why it looks so new. We put in, this whole thing got rebuilt. We put a new clutch, new friction plates. All the seals have been redone. The carbon seal has been replaced, which is one of the hardest seals to get a hold of, or you can't even get them. All the bearings have been replaced. He actually gave me an upgrade, and he put a new compressor wheel, and I'll show you guys now. It's a new compressor wheel, and it's a little bit lighter, and I think, I'm not sure if it's a 9-blade. I don't know, I didn't count, but he said he told me it spins a little bit faster, a little bit more power, nothing crazy. But the stock compressor wheel has like a gray finish. This is a little bit more shinier, so it's obviously a little bit lighter, spins a little bit faster. I had the casting vapor honed. Well, I cleaned it myself, and we all put it back together. Everything looks good. So the Supercharger is one of the only things at the moment that's done. So that's good because this is a hard Supercharger to deal with, from what I heard. And yeah, in a nutshell, that's what's up. That's what's going to happen with this engine, and let's see what happens, guys. I hope nothing goes wrong because I'm a little bit nervous. I'll be very honest with you. I don't want to have to do this more than once. It's already bad enough that it failed once, but to have to do it again and again, I don't know if I'll do that. But I'm going to try to do everything the right way the first time. That is exactly why it's going to RPM engines, because I feel like they can do the job. If you go to their Instagram, like I said earlier in the video, you can check out their work. They're pretty awesome. They got state-of-the-art equipment, machines, and they're pretty badass. They know what they're doing. So so that's what's up. If you guys want to subscribe and follow, I'll be putting up the entire build from point A to point Z, and let's see what happens. So good luck. Good luck to myself, actually. And you guys subscribe and check out the content in the future, and we'll see what happens. Have a good one, guys.